Welcome back to DIY Raj. Today, probably going to be a couple days before this video is posted, but it is St. Patrick's Day. I got my green on, and I want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day and enjoy your Friday. So today, I'm going to attempt to remove the gas tank. This gas tank in particular is leaking, at least on this side, in two places. There's a mounting bracket that runs the length of the tank, almost the length of the tank, and where the tank is welded to those brackets, it is leaking from the front and the rear. Now this is because when we stopped using this tractor, this Farmall, back in the early 2000s, we let gas sit in it. So that is beginning to eat through the bottom of the tank, and remnants of that is leaking up front here, which is why I have my nice little box to capture the leakage there, and it is also leaking in the back. I don't believe it's leaking on the other side. I really haven't paid that much attention to it, and it is not. So I don't know if it was just the way that the tractor was sitting for so long that it leaned this way. But this side of it is definitely junk. It looks like there are two nuts in the front of the tank here on each side, and a bolt on each side in the rear. First thing I'm going to have to do is turn off the valve on the sediment bowl to shut the gas line off. I don't know how much of a mess this is going to be, so hopefully not too much. I might lay a couple more pieces of cardboard down here just to catch whatever may leak out. I'm sure there's going to be something, just how much, I'm not sure. So we're going to attempt that and see what happens. Okay, something I do want to note is I'm really not sure what the purpose of these videos are. I think it's more or less, I knew I was going to be doing this, so I felt like it would be neat to document it. It's not really an instructional video because I really don't know what I'm doing. So if you're watching, you might be curious to see how to do something, but right now I'm new to this. The only way that I've done it before was with my dad, and that was when I was 15, 16 years old. So I really don't remember too much of it or how much really I was involved in it. I know that I did a lot of wire wheeling, but as far as disassembly, yeah, I really don't remember that. So these videos just start to, document what I've done, my experience, the issues that I've run into. If it helps somebody, that's great. If it doesn't, then maybe at least it provides some entertainment or just something to watch. But I just wanted to document that so that somebody watching this might think to themselves, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. But it might be fun just to watch and, join along with me. So with that being said, we're going to work on the gas tank now. The first thing I'm going to do here, and I did test this, is I'm shutting off this valve on the sediment bowl here. At least it's free, so that's good. Okay, so now that's off. I do have this water jug here. Hopefully I can collect whatever gas might leak out. I don't know if we can call it gas at this point, but hopefully I can collect whatever may leak out in it. I'm not sure exactly how much is in here. I looked, but it stinks, so I really don't want to open it in here while I'm working. I'm sure I'm going to create enough of a mess and a smell once I start loosening lines and whatnot. So now that the shutoff is off, I guess my next step is to loosen up the fuel line on the other side. I'm looking around here because I want to see what to put down just to, I have some cardboard over here, so while I go get that, I'll be back. Okay, now that I've got a couple more pieces of cardboard down, I'm hoping that'll keep the mess to a minimum. It's better than nothing, I guess, so we'll see how that works. Before I loosen the fuel lines though, I am going to bring the camera over just to show where I'm actually going to be disconnecting the fuel line, just for a little bit of reference. So we'll see. So bring this over here. And if you look in there where the sediment bowl, I'm gonna disconnect the line there. And if I have to, I will disconnect it at the carb here. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I might move the camera over here just so it makes it a little bit easier to see. Okay, so now let's see what kind of mess we can create. Again, I don't know if this is the correct way to do this. I know I have a couple manuals in the house. I don't think I have a shop manual, or even if I do, if it would explain in which order to do this. So I'm learning as I go, and bear with me. I'll probably fast forward through some of this stuff so you don't have to watch the minor details of me loosening every single nut and bolt on the tractor here. Okay, well, it's getting hard to see in here, so I'm gonna go grab something and I'll be right back. Okay, so while it might not be the best fashion statement, I did put my headlight on here. That way it makes it a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. I don't know why I didn't put it on in the first place. I've had it out here the entire time I've been recording today. So this definitely is helping. I don't know how it's going to turn out on the video. I don't know if it helps at all from your vantage point, but it definitely helps me. So let's see what we got in here. Let's see if I can get this fuel line off. I'm saying fuel line. I know it's gas. I know it's a gas line. So you correct me if you need to. But I loosened this a little bit when the camera was off, so I think, okay. All right, well, that came off easier than I expected. I don't know if there's anything in there. There's not. So I don't know if I can reuse this fuel line or if it's even worth it. I don't know how much they cost. I might just replace it. So anyway, just looking in the sediment bowl here, there's quite a bit of crud. It's brown and it looks pretty nasty in there. So I'll bring the camera in here so we get a closer look. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't know if that's going to be salvageable or if it's even worth it. I know I've seen them for sale online, so it might be just something I replace. While I'm over here and I have the camera over here, I might as well go ahead and remove the nuts and bolts on the front of the tank and on the rear of the tank on this side before I go ahead and move over to the other side. So let's see how this goes. I did test on the other side before I started recording today. Those were free. I have not touched this side, so I don't know what this is going to be like. And as I mentioned in my previous video, I don't expect it to go well, but this was pretty protected from the elements under here. Clearly the tank overhangs. The paint looks really good under here still. So we'll see. These are, just a note, they're 9/16. So and it feels like, yeah, I have the bolt spinning on the back end here. So for those of you that are interested, this tractor, I believe I mentioned in my first video, it was my grandfather's. I don't know I don't know when he bought it or where it came from. I think my uncle may have told me, but I don't remember. But my grandfather used this Farmall here to, he had a pretty decent sized garden. And he would use it with a couple of the attachments to basically plant his garden. I remember when I was little, sitting up on the axle here, and no, there were no fenders, so it was just like this. But I remember sitting on the axle whenever he was prepping his garden, so that was fun. Unfortunately, he passed away in 1991, and I mentioned that in my first video. I said 1990 for some reason. A bit neat history with that is, and I believe it's why I said 1990. My sister, she was born in 1990, and when my parents brought her home from the hospital, my grandfather came down. We lived on sort of the same piece of property. There's a little bit of land there. But my grandfather came down and picked her up right when she came from the hospital on the Farmall. So it has a little, not a little bit, it's very sentimental to me for those couple reasons. And also, again, like I said, I have memories of wire wheeling most of this with my dad, and also I remember picking up the motor and the front end from salvage yard. The other motor was stuck, so we replaced just the whole front end. But it's just a little bit of memories like that. I know some people might wonder why, or might not think it's worth it to, you know, put money into something like this, but it's sentimental to me. It means a lot. But anyway, it belonged to my grandfather, died in 91. And my dad and I, with help of family, like I said in my first video, started I think in 95 or 96, working on it. So we used it and then it sat. And I know that's repeated information, but I just wanted to say where it all stemmed from. So, all right, well, anyway, on another note, I got this side off here, and now we're going to swing around and do the other side. Okay, now we're on the other side. I looked earlier, like I said, when I tested to make sure if these are free. These two nuts and bolts are going to be a pain, it looks like. So that'll be interesting to see. I don't know how this is going to work, but it's also messy in here because of the leaking gas and all the other crud buildup and whatnot. So let's see how this works, or if it even works. Okay, that nut came free too. A little hard to get in there with this throttle rod in the way here, but fortunately I was able to do that. Seems like the washer might be somewhat stuck, and I don't know how these bolts are going to come out. The other side came out really easily. This side, I do not know. I might have to tap those out with a screwdriver and a hammer. I also don't want to create a spark for obvious reasons. This one here, I knew this was free from earlier. And actually where this gas tank is leaking back here, I think it's sort of lubricated or ate some of the rust away that may have held this bolt in, because this one came free very easily. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get a screwdriver and a hammer and tap these bolts out, and hopefully they come out without a problem. So that's next. Okay, so I did go ahead and tap these bolts with a hammer and a screwdriver, and they both slid out fairly easily. So I'm quite surprised how easily this has went so far. I haven't lifted up the tank yet, so who knows what kind of surprises I will run into then. So now that we got the hardware, mounting hardware off of the gas tank, now it's time to remove the actual tank. So I'm going to go ahead and move the camera. So that's the next step. Okay, so now I'm going to take the gas tank off. I know I said I wasn't going to open the lid here and see what was in it because of the smell, but I don't know how much old gas is in here. I looked in here once. I'm just trying to gauge on how heavy this may be. I don't want to pick it up, have it slip out of my hands and make an absolute mess. So I am going to take the gas cap off here and see. Luckily, it looks like there's really not that much in there. I almost wish that we would have drained this out a long time ago, because the rest of the tank doesn't look too bad, but it is what it is. There's not a lot of gas in there at all. Matter of fact, I won't even fill that jug up halfway if I were to empty it into there. So I'm going to move my light out of the picture here. I'm going to set the gas tank on these horses, hopefully. So here goes nothing. Well, that was a lot easier than I had expected. Okay, and there you have it. That is the removal of the gas tank. Again, just another step in the dismantling process. I doubt this old battery is going to work, so going to need a new one of those. On the one forum that I've been asking questions on, they did say to test the compression in the cylinders to see if I have correct compression. Otherwise, this is all for naught. But again, because of the sentimental value that this does have to me, I'm pretty much willing to do whatever it takes to get it running. If it needs motor work, then it needs motor work. So I don't know. Anyway, that was the removal of the gas tank. And the next step, just because now that I have access to it, I may pull the battery out, the battery box. It looks like somehow an animal ended up in the control box here. So I'm going to clean that out a little bit. But I'm not really sure what my next step is. I might end up draining fluids, testing the compression, and seeing what that brings. I might change the oil in it, and I'm not sure what else. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. It went a lot easier than I expected. So I think I mentioned in my first video, I do have another gas tank. I don't really know what you can see of this mess back here, but in that box on top of that old refrigerator, there is that's called a refurbished gas tank that I have already purchased. Some say that these can be cleaned and repaired. I'm probably going to clean it out, see what it looks like inside, see if I can have this one repaired. And if I can, and it holds gas well, then I may reuse this one and sell that one. I'm not really sure, but I do have one here in case this one's junk. Again, I'm trying to keep whatever I can of the original parts and reuse them, just because in my mind, as ridiculous as it may sound, it's one of those things where I'd be like, well, my grandfather used that, we used that, my dad and I cleaned that, and again, that might sound stupid to some people, but I'm sentimental when it comes to that type of stuff. So yeah, just one more thing done, and I feel like I've already made more progress on this than I had intended to be at this point. I do have some other projects going on in parallel to this, which I will probably also share on the channel. I don't know how much I'm going to actually record of it. I may take pictures before and after of those type of projects, put them in a video with some commentary in the background. But yeah, I think this went well today, and I'm happy with it. Okay, so that'll do it for today's video, removing a gas tank from the Farmall C. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I ask that if you like this video, hit the like button down below, and if you like the previous videos that I've posted, please like those as well. Also, hit the subscribe button on my channel. You'll be notified anytime that I post a new video, whether it be working on the Farmall or some other do-it-yourself project. You'll be notified. With that, I said at the beginning of the video that I'm not sure when this one's going to be posted, but today is Friday, St. Patrick's Day. For those of you who celebrate it, happy St. Patrick's Day to you, and for those of you who do not, happy Friday. And I want to wish everybody a good weekend, and look for my next video. This is DIY Raj.